We are joined here today by a very, very special guest, CEO and President of the Bryan County Development Authority. His name is Mr. Ryan Purvis. How are you today, Ryan?
Doing well, Courtney. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me as well. I'm very, very, very much looking forward to having a discussion with you and finding out about some of the great things you're doing over there in the state of Georgia. Now, Ryan, the first thing I would like to ask you is, what makes your community an attractive destination for not just companies, but also investors that are looking to relocate and expand in Bryan County?
Hmm. That's a really good question. We believe that Bryan County is set apart in multiple ways. It starts with our educational system. We have the sixth best public school system in the state of Georgia. That's something we're very proud of. When you look at our community, traditionally we've been a place where uh, families have come and lived and even retired, but we haven't always had the opportunities locally for industry. And so what we're seeing now is kind of that progression where we have multiple industries for folks, regardless of their education. So when we look at it, we try to get very intentional. We want to
Well,
look at every child, every student, and we want to say, how can we provide an opportunity for that child to not only have a life, have a career, have a family, but also retire too. And so those are some unique things that separate Bryan County from other locations.
so it's the whole spectrum from a very, very early stage of life all the way through retirement.
Absolutely. We want to attract the best and retain the best, but we also want this to be a place where folks should never have to leave Bryan County in the region to find the right career for them.
Fantastic. Somewhere we can consistently and continuously call home. Now, um, in terms of population size, I mean, what is the population of your community, and what are the top three thriving industry
Mhm.
sectors in your county, Ryan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're actually on the smaller side. We're just over 50,000 people total, but that number will continue to grow. Currently, we're the sixth fastest growing county in the country and the
Well,
fastest in the state of Georgia. And so that's been exciting. Obviously, progress can come with its own set of obstacles, but for us, that's something that we are very proud of. And what I'm hoping, Courtney, is at the end of this call, I can set you up with a realtor and you can add to that total number of people that live in Bryan County.
well, we can always explore that option. I mean, I've been to the state of Georgia a few times, but never been blessed enough to see what you guys have to offer in Bryan County. So you better make sure that I don't take that opportunity up, because I will do so. Two words that also come to mind, Ryan, when we speak about economic development, foreign direct investment. A is workforce, and
Mm.
the second one is talent. So my next question to you is, how does the county's workforce availability and talent pipeline support the businesses and sustainability?
That's a great question. And if you don't mind, can I take one step back? I don't know that I fully answered your previous question. You asked the
Absolutely.
three. Okay, I'll answer that question and then we'll jump towards workforce development. But the three main areas for industry for us, we've got military, and I would really add four. We've got military, agriculture, manufacturing, um,
Right.
and drawing a blank. Education. I'm sorry. Education, manufacturing,
Agriculture,
agriculture, and military.
military,
But
education.
that's right. That's right.
Okay, fantastic.
So to jump to your workforce question, um, we believe that we have to first start very young. So we
Right.
we try to start around the eighth grade level and even earlier on some of our STEM programs. But the future workers are in high school right now. And so we try to really establish programs with the high schools, with the industries very early on to get these kids
Right.
passionate about industry, about manufacturing and other things. This week alone, we've got 4 teachers currently at one of our big industries. They are shadowing for the entire week. They are learning the manufacturing process. This is at Hyundai, literally 40 hours a week. And then tomorrow, Zach and I will go and listen to a presentation on what they've learned and how they're going to re-implement that back into their classroom. So that's one piece. The other part is we have around 3,500 servicemen every year that get out of either Fort Stewart or Hunter Air Force Base. We retain somewhere around 30% of those. So we want to do a
Wow.
better job of making sure that we're encouraging the military to stay here. And part of that is making sure that we're not just serving them well, we're serving their spouses well and their families. So that's one area. Another area is really looking at the underrepresented group. This is a very big group in our region that sometimes people look over. There are times where perhaps they can't quite get through the entire interview process because of mistakes in the past. So that's an area that we're really focusing in on to help connect our industries with these great workers, but perhaps they just need a second chance because Courtney, I'll tell you, I need a second chance
We all
daily.
do.
Um, so those are some of the areas we have a really good partnership with Rise. Rise is a regional workforce development group that touches 8 counties. So part of the answer is it's a regional opportunity for us to work together because
Yeah.
you have folks that live in Bryan County work in other counties, or you may have someone that lives in Chatham County and works in Bryan County. So you're going to be working across counties, and so that's one of the ways that we look to try to solve that problem together. The other great thing is because we have industries here, we have a lot of great workers here, and we also have, I think it's like 15 unbelievable colleges and technical schools that are within proximity to us that provide a lot of great graduates.
15?
Yeah, it's like 15 within I think it's a 60-mile radius, something like that. But then, you go all the way to Atlanta and you've got the #1 engineering school in the country. So the resources are there. It's just making sure that we're attracting the best.
Fantastic. So just as we delve into a little bit more about infrastructure, and support, how does the county's infrastructure
Mhm.
support industries such as advanced manufacturing, logistics, technology? How does your industry support those three keys?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have great partnerships with the city, with the county, with the state, and some of the growth that we've experienced, it's historical. So when you look at Hyundai, it's the single largest private project in the history of the state of Georgia. So that requires everybody to be on the uh, same board, same place, and so there's a lot of upfront engineering and planning that goes into making sure that the infrastructure is in place. And then there's also tweaks that are required as the construction starts, where maybe things are a little bit different than you expected, and so there are growing pains that we have to work through. That's with any industry. That's with any growth.
Right.
Um, but for us, the key is making sure that we have really good partners locally. I'll say for us, there's a group called the Joint Development Authority. It consists of 4 counties: Chatham, Bullock, Effingham, and Bryan. And this is the group that came together to really land Hyundai. And without that unification and that partnership, that would not be possible.
Wow. So Ryan, you spoke about the early stages. You touched on retirement. I'm going to speak a little bit about housing, education, and lifestyle. What
Mm,
kind of housing, education, and lifestyle
mm,
opportunities does your community have
mm.
that offer you to be able to attract that top talent?
Mhm. That's a phenomenal question. Um, when you come here, you'll see the mossy oak trees, you'll see the winding tributaries, the beautiful marshes. And so from a nature standpoint, it's really hard to beat the coast of Georgia. So we definitely have that. We have a lot of homes that are different, priced at different levels. And I would say that we're actively trying to work through that to make sure that each home is attainable at each level. Now, that's not an easy problem. And that problem is something that many of the growing uh, counties across the country are struggling with because, as you know, real estate over the past 5 years has gone through the roof from a
Of course.
historical standpoint. And so you're fighting that. But there's also a component where we really want to help change the message a little bit. And this is what I mean. When I first got married, my wife and I lived in a townhome for 15 years, a townhome, and we loved it. And so
Right.
part of this is making sure that we get the message right that when someone graduates college, they don't necessarily deserve uh, a massive home with land and all of these things.
Yeah.
That's something that folks can work towards. So part of
Correct.
this is changing the message. Like, how can we be good stewards younger, and then we grow into something a little bit bigger later on down the road. But Bryan County, what it does is it provides opportunities at each of those important stages.
Fantastic. I really think that that's key to be able to provide opportunities throughout that
Mm,
whole cycle of from one point
mm,
to all the way through to retirement, as you mentioned.
yeah.
Now, can you briefly outline how the county's pro-business policies and local
Mm,
government support make it easier for businesses
mm.
to succeed in your community? Could you briefly enlighten us on that, please, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts at the state level with governor count. There's a reason why we are the best state doing business for 11 years in a row. And
Cool.
what the counties, what the cities, what the local partners try to do is we try to just add on to the foundation that's being created. So
Right.
there's different times that we get into incentives to encourage the right company to come here. There's different support that we provide not only before the sale, but after the sale. I would say your biggest benefit is the support we provide after the sale. So this is with workforce development. This is with employer forums. This is with connecting folks to
Right.
the right partners locally, colleges, and that kind of thing. So I cut it off because you said brief.
Look, I mean, and that's a fantastic answer because it gives me what I need to know, but it then lets me know that if I need to find out more, I can do my research. But the next question I have for you, Ryan, is about landscape and how how your community's landscape has evolved in recent years,
Mm,
and what future growth opportunities should businesses in your community be aware of?
that's great. So I would say the way that it's evolved is 8 to 10 years ago, we were more of a place that people lived and not worked. Now, it didn't mean that we didn't have industry. We had some, it just wasn't very diverse. So
Right,
now we have an extremely diverse tax base when we're looking at the different types of industry, but we want to expand on that. And I'll just leave this little seed. We've got some really exciting things that are happening over the next year. We
right,
expect to be able to talk through this, hopefully within the next 3 to 6 months. But these are things that we currently don't have. These are things that currently don't exist in our region. And so that's really what we're trying to do. People look at us and they say, you landed Hyundai or you one and done.
right.
And we're not. What Hyundai has afforded us to do is we can be more discerning on the right companies that we want to have here, and we don't have to say yes to everything. So it's provided us that opportunity to really diversify, but make sure we grow without losing our soul.
Fantastic. Now, this is probably my favorite question that I ask economic development, the directors and CEOs. Um, what are some of the most recent success stories of
Mm,
companies that have relocated or expanded in your community? Can you tell us any success stories that have happened recently?
Yeah, absolutely. I can mention a couple, and some are in the beginning stages of expansion, so I want to protect their
Some we
privacy.
have to
But
be very quiet with. I understand.
yeah, absolutely. But so one that's very interesting, Hyundai. Obviously, everybody knows about Hyundai, and recently their corporate group agreed to expand pretty tremendously. And that's been within the last 2 months. So that's the big fish. We've got a lot of other industries that are foundational, whether it be Daniel Defense, Orifal, Webstront, Comar, Burlington, Medline, FedEx, you name it. All of these companies are looking at ways that they can expand what they offer, they can expand their number of employees, they can expand their innovation. And so it's really an exciting time right now because all of these companies not only want to stay here forever, but they want to look for ways to continue to grow themselves. And so that's
Right.
part of what we do on our end after the sale. After the sale is making sure we're here for them for that.
Fantastic. And I want to also thank you on your recent. I mean, I'm not going to say recent because it was 2 years ago. You were appointed in 2023, correct? Or was it 2024?
Well, so I'm not even a year in. So I'm about 9 months in.
Right.
So what that means
Congratulations to
is,
all of them.
oh, thank you, thank you. I'm not too far along where they couldn't get rid of me. You know what I mean? They could say, hey, this is not working
Not
out.
part,
We need to
not
find
part of
somebody
the
new.
not part of the furniture yet.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I just got business cards, a few months ago. So they're like, hey, we got to make sure this guy's going to work out.
But Ryan, as the new CEO over there at Byron County, what new strategies can we
Mm.
expect to see implemented from you to bring new business to your community?
That's a great question. So I have a phenomenal foundation to build on, and I have a phenomenal team. You met one with Zach, the other is Myra Sims.
Yeah,
We have
phenomenal.
9 board
Zach
members.
is phenomenal. Myra, I haven't met as yet so much, but Zachary, absolutely phenomenal. Yes, I would
They
concur.
make everybody look better. So what I tell folks is if there's a success that we accomplish, it's probably not me, it's our team. If there's a failure that we had, it was probably me. So my one of who I am at the very heart is I want to communicate well. I want to lead well.
Right.
I'm a bridge builder. So within our community, the way that we are leading is we are bringing different partners locally together to make sure we're on the same page. Um,
Fantastic.
I want to try to communicate to folks, even when it's hard to communicate, even when the information is not exactly what they want to hear. Um, but for me, it's very personal. I want to make a difference in the world, Courtney. Like I want to impact each individual person. And this goes back to the very first part of the interview. When I look at these kids in high school, I don't care how smart they are. I don't care their acumen. I don't care if they're college material. I want each of these kids, if they're willing to put in the work, to have the opportunity to have a life that they are proud of, have a family that they can support, and have a place that they can retire to. And so that's who I am at the very heart of, I'm a man of faith. For me, it's God, family, and work. And I try to live my life that way. I mess up daily with that. Um, but that's how I plan to lead uh, moving forward as well.
Well, Ryan, I think your community have done a very, very good job and found a hidden gem to
Thank
lead
you.
and ensure that exactly what you said. Business continues to grow, and
Mm,
the young kids of entrepreneurs have that path and that gateway to success at all levels. And I'm just
mm,
very, very excited to see what the future will bring for you and your community, and I'm sure we'll see it all unfold as time goes on. But thank you very much for joining me today, Ryan. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to finding out, like I said, more about the development growing and more ribbon cuttings happening in your community as you continue to lead from the front. And thank you once again. And can you thank your team as well, Zachary and Myra,
Absolutely.
for being great at everything when it comes to communication, administration, getting things done with deadlines. And you have a great team, Ryan. So thank you very much. And we look forward to a long-term continuing relationship with your great community.
Thank you, Courtney. And you tell me when I need to connect you with a realtor. We're ready.